Good evening, Rambler fans. I'm Alex Chrissy.
And I'm Shayna Farinas. Welcome to this week's edition of the Rambler Sports Locker. This week brings very important change for the Loyola Athletic program. But before we get into that, I have a very important question to ask. How has your bracket been going, Alex?
It's been going pretty well. I've missed a few, but my Final Four are all still in it, and Harvard won.
You're rooting for Harvard?
I'm not rooting for them, but I always pick them in the bracket because they seem like one of those schools that shouldn't have a good basketball team, but then they win.
Well, good for you then. I heard one of the favorites, Wichita State, got knocked out early this weekend.
Yeah, too bad. I wanted to see them get that undefeated season.
I think we all did, Alex. Now, on to this week's big news. Athletic Director Dr. Grace Calhoun resigned on Monday after accepting a similar position at the University of Pennsylvania. Since she started at Loyola in 2011, Calhoun has replaced almost all of the head coaches with her own selections. Most notably, she hired both men's basketball head coach Porter Moser and women's basketball head coach Cheryl Swoops. Calhoun also played a major role in the Ramblers' move to the Missouri Valley Conference. She will stay on until mid-May. In the meantime, the search is on nationwide for a new athletic director. No one from the athletic department was willing to comment on this development. However, Joe Flaherty caught up with former RSL member and Phoenix sports editor Brendan Bond to get his 2 cents.
It's really soon. I mean, she was 3 years on the job, and she had just finished hiring a bunch of new coaches, pretty much cleaning house when she got here and getting her people in place, and to kind of leave before the job's finished was a little surprising.
Bond doesn't believe her predecessor will come from inside the athletic department, but he hopes whoever it is will be named promptly.
I kind of feel bad for the athletic department, for the athletes to have the turnover 3 years ago and now have the turnover again to go through. So I hope the administration finds somebody quickly, just because a turnover like that is really tough on the whole department.
We'll have more in-depth information next week as this story continues to unfold.
You can rest assured that the men's volleyball team isn't going anywhere anytime soon. The nation's top dogs were looking to pull in their 3rd win in 5 days as they hosted St. Francis last Saturday. 3 starters got the night off to rest up for the stretch run, but those who stayed on the floor didn't skip a beat. Cody Caldwell notched 14 more kills en route to MIVA Offensive Player of the Week honors. The Ramblers coast to a straight set victory. Make that 17 straight for the Ramblers and counting. They're creeping up on that program record of 21 straight set back in 2005.
You might not think 14 kills is all that much, but when you consider that capped a 53-kill week for Caldwell, you'll realize why he was named Player of the Week. He averaged an impressive 14.82 kills per set in 3 victories last week against number 10 Lewis University, number 14 Penn State, and St. Francis University. He is the 4th Loyola volleyball player to win the award this season. If you want to see Caldwell and the number 1 Ramblers in action, they face number 12 Ball State tonight at 7 p.m. in the Gentile Arena.
Postseason basketball was, in a word, a fiasco for the MVC men's teams this season. With that being the case, we decided to let Rebecca Bayer change the segment to a more appropriate name.
With March Madness in full swing, our Missouri Valley teams have done nothing but disappoint. And so this week's shameful top 3 is being renamed the not-so-top 3. To start things off, the number 3 goes to the Missouri State Bears. They started off their first CIT tournament game with a 13-point deficit, but managed to come back with a 9-point lead in the beginning of the second half. However, they didn't quite have what it takes to remain in the lead. Murray State defeated the Bears 68-66, leaving them empty-handed after only the first round of the tournament. The number 2 spot goes to Indiana State Sycamores. After concluding one of their best seasons in the history of the program, they were dominated by the Arkansas Razorbacks 91-71 in the first round of the tournament. This was the Sycamores' 2nd appearance in the National Invitational Tournament, and well, they did not impress. And the Wichita State Shockers take the cake for the number 1 not-so-top 3 spot this week. After remaining undefeated all season, they went into the tournament as a number 1 seed and confident that this would be a team of destiny. However, they did not appear to know the meaning of the word destiny. Not only did they ruin their perfect season with a second-round 78-76 loss to the Kentucky Wildcats, I hear they ruined a number of people's brackets too. That's it for this week's MVC Top 3. Back to you, Alex.
Last Saturday, the Loyola track team began their outdoor season at the Bulldog Opener in Indianapolis. Junior Allison Ciccone stole the show, breaking the school record in shot put with a throw of over 47 meters. 5 other Ramblers also won their events, including sophomore Chris Stroop in the men's 200 meter, junior Alyssa Pace-Patterson in the women's 200 meter, sophomore Krista Kuss in the women's 400 meter, and freshman Audrey Michelson in the women's 1500 meter. The men's 4x400 relay team also won their race, making it quite a successful day for the track team.
It was a quick turnaround for some members of the track team because on Sunday, Loyola Athletes took to the stage for the second annual Athlete Talent Show to prove there is more to them than just what you see on the field. Grace Runkle got to see the hidden talents these Rambler athletes unleashed.
This past Sunday, Rambler athletes gathered at Milady Theater to take part in the annual Athlete Talent Show. With last weekend's production being only the second in school history, the night showcased music, dancing, and, well, not turning down for anything. Sophomore track and field runner Isaac Pepszowski talked about who could compete, along with how the show was judged.
Basically, it's pretty free for all. Everyone just kind of signs up if they think they have a talent, and it's real fun. We got a couple MCs that kind of have a lot of fun with it and introduce the acts. And we had a judge. There was a coach, Penny Livermore.
Classical Studies professor Dr. Penny Livermore, one of the judges that night, shared what was most memorable for her.
I guess I wasn't really looking for anything. I was just enjoying the experience and watching the students become all that they could be and performing. And you see parts of people you never knew that were there, so I really wasn't looking for anything so much as just cherishing the time. And to me, they all did fine, though we had to choose.
My act was I was playing guitar. I sang a song by Neil Young, and I was also doing some harmonica with it as well.
With a lot of talent shown by the Ramblers, a decision was hard to make. By the end of the evening, Pepszowski took home the big prize. Well, not an actual prize.
Oh, there's no prize. It's just pride and a little bit of fun. So.
Another contestant, junior track and field runner Grace Moore, talked about how the talent show was a great way to learn more about her fellow Ramblers.
I think it's important for a few reasons. One, we're all known for the sport we do, but we don't really know a lot about each other, what else they do outside of your sport and going to school, obviously. I mean, dancing isn't really one of my talents per se, but it's fun to get involved, to have everybody in the athletics department get involved and just kind of lighten up and see some funny things, some cool things, some really talented people, like I said, outside of sports.
For the Rambler Sports Locker, I'm Grace Runkle.
Was that Sam Penton-Stadler dancing around in a dress?
Yes, I think it was.
I think it's safe to say Sam's talents lie on the track and not on the dance floor.
I'd definitely not like to see a slow motion replay of that talent show, but This Week in History remembers a vote that the rewind button permanent in the NFL. Instant replay was used for the very first time on September 7th, 1986, in an NFL regular season game in which the Chicago Bears went up against the Cleveland Browns. But it wasn't until March 27th, 2007, that NFL owners voted to make the video replay system an irreplaceable tool. Things were pretty different before the change. For example, there were no limits on what plays were subject to review, and because of that, not everyone was in favor of the new system. George Young, the general manager of the New York Giants, said instant replay made games unnecessarily longer. But now, not only can officials decide when to shoot a replay, coaches have the right to challenge plays as well. Players can be seen in high definition and at multiple angles, but even to this day, technology has proven it is only as good as those who use it. I'm Alex Whitler, and that's it for This Week in History.
Loyola's golf team finished in the middle of the pack in the Middleburg Bank Intercollegiate from the March 23rd through 25th. Senior Alex Cusimano was the top-ranked Loyola player in the tournament, tying for 45th place with a 3-round score of 223. The team ended the tournament with an overall score of 904, landing them in the 17th place. The Ramblers won't be swinging their golf clubs until April 5th and 6th when they travel to Peoria, Illinois for the Bradley Invitational.
Some of Loyola's sports seasons have come to an end, but Chris Lehman shows us that it's not too late to catch your favorite Ramblers making an impact around campus.
Last year, Loyola University Chicago put on the largest Relay for Life event in the country. The relay attempts to raise money for the American Cancer Society in hope to find a cure for cancer.
Any money that they can raise to that, it goes to the research and goes to helping funding and health with kids now and people in the future.
The student athletes at Loyola have become an integral piece to spreading the event's awareness.
It was kind of slow at first, but now we're really picking up steam. And actually, as of today, we reached 100% of our goal for our relay of $500, and we're thinking about raising it. And we have 2 boys ready to participate in Mr. Relay, so that's really exciting. Men's basketball has a big part in it, and we're just trying to match that and make it a yearly thing that we attend relay and become and show our presence in the Loyola community.
We're going to do the Mr. Relay event, which is dressing up as a girl and putting on a little talent show for the people. Last year, Jordan Hicks did it. He was really involved in that, and I guess that's an event they do every year with that. It's like a Mr. Relay thing. So the way Jordan started doing it last year, I think we're going to try and continue to do that for him and for cancer, obviously.
This would be a perfect opportunity for us athletes to get out there in the community, kind of live out the Jesuit ideals that Loyola has, and kind of get out there and support a good cause.
My grandma got affected by breast cancer, and relatives in the past. So I know everyone basically has a connection to Relay for Life and cancer because everybody in some way is affected by it. So I think this event is very important for everybody.
For the Rambler Sports Locker, I'm Chris Lehman.
Athletes cross-dressing seems to be a recurring theme this week. If you want to see more male athletes dressed as women, stop by Loyola's 2014 Relay for Life event tomorrow night in Gentile Arena. The softball team's first home series of the season against Missouri State was canceled due to winter weather conditions. The games that were supposed to be played last weekend have been rescheduled as a doubleheader on April 7th. Their home season will instead begin against Drake University this weekend, starting with a doubleheader this Saturday.
It's time for another round of Cheers and Gears. Cinderella madness and pestering weather issue for Loyola's softball team are just a couple of the top topics discussed. Let's go to Madeline Kenny for more.
Welcome to Cheers and Gears. I'm Madeline Kenny, and to my right I have Jake Mazanke, and to my left I have Joaquin Keurig. This is a reoccurring segment where we talk about what we're applauding and what we are grinding our gears about in the sports world. We're going to start with cheers. Here's Jake.
All right, I'm going to give a cheers to the track team. This past weekend, they started the outdoor season off at the Butler Invite, and we had some great performances, especially from Allison Ciccone, who PR'd by 3 feet in the shot put, bested her own best throw before that, and also broke the school record, so that was a great start. We're moving on to Louisville this weekend, so look out for that. Continue the good luck. Here's Joaquin.
All right, well, I'm giving my cheers to the month of March, particularly March Madness and all the upsets and Cinderella teams that have happened just over the first 4 days of the tournament. Start off primarily with Dayton, who has stunned many with their victories over Ohio State and Syracuse. The Ohio State particularly significant to Jordan Seifert, who is the star player of Dayton and a former Ohio State player. Other notable upsets were Stanford beating Kansas in the second round. They're actually going to face Dayton, and Harvard beating Cincinnati. And my favorite, although they unfortunately lost in the second round, was Mercer beating Duke. Being a UNC Tar Heel fan, it was bliss to see Duke go down. And you know what? The Mercer team celebrated, doing a little nay-nay after the victory. It was all good spirits. So that's my cheers.
Now what grinds your gears?
Oh, well, I got a couple things that grind my gears, but at the top of the list, I'll have to go with the softball team. They've already had 4 games canceled just because of the weather. I think the weather has affected, sports especially this winter, and, having to have 4 games already in the short season canceled is really putting a damper on any momentum they've been building. The Ramblers, they've had a really good start defensively this year, especially, and having 4 games canceled, they just can't get anything going, and it's going to be hard once these games keep getting shut down to finish them up at the end of the season. So I'd like to see how it turns out. Wishing the best for our Lady Ramblers softball team.
This is grinding my gears. There hasn't been a whole lot of information released on it yet, but just the sudden resigning, or I guess transferring, of Grace Calhoun, no longer our athletic director. She moved to University of Penn to take over their athletics program, but there was no announcement. It kind of just left the athletic department, running around without its head, like a chicken running around without its head. We're still in the early process of a major redevelopment program. She had made 43 new administrative positions this year, a number of coaches firings and new hirings, and then she left after only 3 years of the program. So it's to me it's a little bit disconcerting about the future of the program. So.
And that's it for this week's Cheers and Gears.
Sure didn't seem like their gears were grinding very hard. Let's see some anger next time, boys.
You know who's grinding pretty hard right now? The Boston Bruins. They had their winning streak snapped recently, but they're still the NHL point leaders. Can anyone stop them? We'll find out on this week's Ramble.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of the Ramble.
Ramble time! Woo! Happy Pro Day, Johnny. Get money. Get money.
I'm Christina Carbonara, and to my left I have Allison Krakowiak, and to my right, Joe Flaherty. All right, let's get this started. First question. So the Boston Bruins have been on fire lately. They could have won 13 straight, but sadly they lost. But they have already managed to clinch a playoff spot. Many say they're built to win the playoffs and may even have a chance at Lord Stanley. But do they really? What competition do they have? And is there a possible underdog we should be looking out for? Allison?
Well, I think that the Boston Bruins have an exceptional team this year. They have a very quick offense and exceptional defense led by Zdeno Chara, my man. Yeah. And so I think that they're very good cup contenders this year. But also we have to look out for the Detroit Red Wings because they're very good, They're just good. And also we have to look out for the Chicago Blackhawks because we're really good at hockey. And also, I think that there is an underdog. I think that the St. Louis Blues are someone that we have to watch out for because, they have matched the Bruins record this year. So, they're definitely an underdog because coming off a rebuilding season, no one really saw them as competition, but they're pretty good. So
it's a solid choice for an underdog, definitely. All right, Joe, what do you think?
I'd have to agree with the St. Louis notion. I mean, they got their new goalie, and they're on a little bit of a run now, top of the West. I'd also like to throw in Tampa Bay as maybe a possible underdog, but my underdog pick, not even the underdog. Come on, no, Jillian, I knew you'd say that, but it's got to be not even the underdog, but technically because they're fourth, the Blackhawks, because you could say. I mean, I enjoyed it, but it's got to be the Hawks because the playoffs are a new season in hockey, and the Blackhawks, they have that switch like the Miami Heat. They could just flip the switch, and it was a microcosm. You just saw the highlights when they took on Pittsburgh coming out of the Olympic break. Pittsburgh's a good team. They're number 2 in the East, and the Hawks didn't look all that great coming out of the Olympic break. Their health, was a big question. Hossa was out. Then they came out and slapped your Penguins in front of 60,000 people when all the lights were on. So when playoff time comes around, both the Bruins and the Hawks have a pretty easy rest of the schedule. I think they're going to probably both coast into the playoffs. I really think we're in for a rematch of the Stanley Cup, and it's also going to end the same way because if you're going to fight fire with fire, Pittsburgh has that defensive aspect, but the Blackhawks, I mean, there's nobody better offensively than the Blackhawks. And even I don't think they're underdog, but you could call it that.
All right. Well, I was just at my first Blackhawks game, and they had their butts handed to them. They lost. But Allison, you brought up the St. Watch it. You brought up the St. Louis Blues. I'm gonna have to give you that point because I'm impressed by that, honestly.
She's been talking a lot of smack this week. She's been trying to come at me, so I've proven your worth early.
You are so salty.
Thank you very much.
I just got to come back. Yeah, it's all good. All right. You just got to come back.
Moving on to Loyola sports, all right? So Mother Nature hasn't been too kind lately, especially to the women's softball team. Being ranked eighth in the nation and first in the conference in double plays per game, the ladies are in for a sure season. But how do you guys foresee them doing? Joe?
I just want to preface this by saying I put my apparel and life on the line by investigating why the ladies haven't been able to play at Loyola softball park, if we can actually get that highlight up. I took a trip out there. I guess we can. Oh, there it is. Yeah, check this out. They said it was frozen solid. Psych, it thawed. That's why they can't play on that field, and now my shoes are ruined. So I should probably just get a point for ruining a pair of shoes like that. But early on, they've already played Wichita State. They're 1-2 in conference. They're 10-15 overall. They're a little bit under 500, and they have been struggling a bit on the road. But I think they could turn it around because they haven't really been able to. They spoke about they could take that Chicago weather to their advantage when they start playing those home games, whenever that may be. And they also haven't been getting a lot or as much as usual from Brittany Gardner. But you can't blame it all on Brittany Gardner because she still has a sub-4 ERA, but her record is under 500. She's 6-7. She's not getting the run support. So when I think that weather starts to warm up, the bats are going to start to warm up, Brittany's going to hit a groove, everything's going to come together. They're going to win more than 20 games this year and make some noise in the conference tournament. But it is an adjustment year, so I got to be cautiously optimistic. They'll do well, but we'll see where they go in the conference tournament. But they'll do just fine this year.
All right, Allison?
Yeah, I'm kind of feeling the same way as you. Well, you know, we're 10-15, like you said, so we're not like the best that we could be. I think that we wanted to be a little bit better, you know. Talking to the softball team for other like packages that we've done, you know, they had really high hopes this year, and they're not exactly meeting those hopes, as you could say, I guess. But I have lots of faith in Brittany Gardner, and I think that, you know, with her on the team, that we can do really well. And, you know, getting that home field advantage, I guess you would say, I think that that's going to help too. So when we get to start playing back on our home field, I think things might turn around for us. And also coming to playoffs, you know, anything can happen. So
I think a court might be better than that field in that condition right now.
yeah,
Very true.
yes, yes.
All right, well, you both gave great answers, but going to have to give the point to Joe. He gave some pretty nice stats.
And, I mean, I have to go buy a new pair of shoes. That's not a joke.
That too.
I really do have. This is a need I have to take care
All
of
right.
tonight.
So since we are at a tie, it is time for the trivia question. Okay. So, in tribute to March Madness, what was the first year Michael Jordan appeared on the cover of Sports Illustrated? Allison?
Oh, geez. Okay, I'm going to go with 1995, because that's the year I was born. So
1979.
Yeah, that's probably a way better
Yeah,
answer than mine.
Joe was closer. The answer is 1983.
Yes.
So Joe gets the point,
Staving off the rookie. You gave it a good run.
takes the victory.
I wasn't intimidated.
Right, that's all.
Ready. No, she wasn't. She gonna learn today.
Well, that's all we have here at the Ramble. Back to you guys at the desk.
Well, that wraps up another successful week for the Rambler Sports Locker. If you want to keep up with all things Loyola sports, make sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and visit our website at ramblersportslocker.com. I'm Alex Trissy.
And I'm Shayna Farinas. Thanks for stopping by the locker, and don't forget to turn out the lights.